Hello. In this, we will be looking at solving control system technical aptitude problems. The topics covered are polar plot, Nyquist plot, and compensators. We will be working out around 15 problems along with the complete concepts and their solutions. Welcome to the lecture. The first problem, an open loop transfer function is given. That's your g of s, h of s. Okay, there is a correction in the question. Please note it down. In the denominator, I missed out a s term. So the actual question is 3 into s plus 2 divided by s into s cube plus 3s plus 1. Right? The question is find the in the polar plot at what point it cuts the real axis. That is the question. Right? And we know in a polar plot, this is my x-axis and this is my y-axis. I can take this degree as 0 degree. That is your real part. This is 90 degree, 180 degree, and this is my 270 degree. This is my imaginary part. This is minus real part. This is minus imaginary part. Okay. Now the question is at what point it is cutting the imaginary axis, right? A polar plot may cut the imaginary axis at here on negative real axis, or else it may cut in the positive real axis, right? Wherever it cuts, the imaginary part is always 0. Okay. The imaginary part, whenever it is cutting at this point and this point, the imaginary part is always 0. So what I do is, these are simple mathematical manipulations, right? So these and all you should be knowing how to solve. So I am multiplying s in the denominator. In place of s I am putting j omega. Okay. Then it's a complex number in the denominator. So to cancel it out, I am taking complex conjugate. So as this is my a term, this is my b term. So it is a plus jb format. I am multiplying with a minus jb. Okay, this is my a, b, b, instead of plus j, it's minus j. So I am multiplying and dividing by the same term. Okay, that's a complex conjugate operation I'm doing. Then what happens is a plus jb, a minus jb, it becomes a square plus b square. Then simple multiplication, complex multiplication, right? I am proceeding. Now I come to this point. I want to split it into real part and imaginary part, because to find the point at which it cuts the imaginary real axis, I have to equate the imaginary part to 0. So I have to split this term into real and imaginary part. How to split? What is a real part? The term without j terms are called real part, right? So what are the terms? 3 omega square minus 18 omega square. So I can add these two. It becomes minus 15 omega square. Then 6 omega power 4. Okay, this is the real part divided by this term. Then what about the imaginary part? The terms having j term. What are the terms having j term? Minus 6 omega. So minus 6 omega. Then minus 9 omega cube. Minus 9 omega cube. Plus 3 omega power 5. Okay, this is the imaginary part. So real part plus j, imaginary part. Now to find the point at which it cuts the real axis, I have to equate the imaginary part to 0. So this is the imaginary part. I am equating it to 0. Okay. Okay, simple mathematical denominator goes to the right side, it vanishes. I am taking 3 omega out from this expression. 3 omega goes to the right side, it vanishes. So ultimately I am having omega power 5 minus 3 omega square minus 2 equal to 0. You cannot solve this because in calculator we have to have a cubic equation, or your order 2 can be solved in your calculator, right? But this is an order 4. But luckily this is even powers, omega power 4, omega power square, omega square is there. So what I can do is, let me put omega square equal to x. Now this expression becomes a quadratic expression. Okay, x square minus 3x minus 2. Now use your calculator, you get a value 3.56, another value minus 0.56. Since this is a negative value, so omega cannot be negative. Since x is nothing but omega square, it cannot be negative. So I am ignoring this value, I am taking only 3.56. So in place of x, now I am putting omega square, reverse operation, right? Here omega square equal to x I put, now I am putting x equal to omega square, because I need the answer in omega. At omega equal to omega square to 3.56, so omega equal to 1.88 radians per second. Okay, but the question is, at what is the point at which it cuts, right? So this is the expression where I can find the point, right? Complex point. Okay. So I can substitute the value 1.88 in this expression here or here or here, anywhere, right? Now if I put 1.88, by solving this only I got 1.88. Solving this to 0 only I got 1.88. Now I substitute 1.88 here, means this term becomes 0. So put 1.88 here. you will be getting the answer as 3. Okay, so it is cutting the real axis at the point 3. So you have to put omega equal to 1.88 here, right? Thereby you get that value. Now in this question there is a serious correction is there. I have asked the open loop is the same question, right? The same question. Remember the denominator I missed out. Yes. Okay, I feel really sorry for the mistakes. Okay. G of s is equal to 3s plus 2 divided by s into s cube plus 3s plus 1. The same problem, right? As the previous problem. Find the frequency at which it cuts the real axis, right? Now you can observe very important thing, where the polar plot is cutting. It is cutting at the point, let me say this point is 3. Okay, this point is 3. That is what we found out. At what frequency it is cutting? The frequency is omega equal to 1.88. It is not the phase crossover frequency as asked in the question, right? For phase crossover frequency, it should cut the negative real axis, okay? But it is cutting the positive real axis, so that is not the phase crossover frequency. The question should be what frequency it cuts the real axis. The answer is, that's what we solved here, omega equal to 1.88 or 1.89. Okay, keep in mind, right? These are some, we cannot blindly say that 1.88 is the phase crossover frequency, because that point is coming 3 is coming in the right side 0 degree. Okay, it should cut 180 degree, then only I can find out the phase crossover frequency. So for this problem there is no phase crossover frequency. Now come to this problem. For the given polar plot, they are asking what is the gain margin. Okay, what is the relation between the gain margin and phase margin? We know what is gain margin is 1 by magnitude at phase crossover frequency, right? So this is the phase, phase crossover frequency, because the polar plot is cutting the imaginary axis. Okay, 180 degree. No, polar plot is cutting the real axis. That is 180 degree. 180 degree it is cutting. Okay, what is its corresponding magnitude? The corresponding magnitude is this value. This is the corresponding magnitude. Magnitude is 0.8. We cannot take a minus 0.8. Magnitude is always positive. Okay, so 1 by 0.8, I get the gain margin as 1.25. So if for a stable system in a polar plot, gain margin should be greater than 1. Okay, here we are getting 1.25, right? For this, the corresponding phase margin should be in positive degree. Okay, so among these options, which is the most suitable option is gain margin is greater than 1 and phase margin is infinite. Infinite, I can say, see, it's not infinite degree we can take, like I can say like a positive degree. Okay, so the best option is it's not 0, it's not negative, it's not 0. So this is the best option among the 4 options, right? Okay. These are some books I have taken from one of the book I have taken this, right? But it should be like phase margin is, instead of infinite, it should be like a positive. That is the most appropriate option. Okay, but among other 3 options, option A is the best option, right? Okay, so you have to go for the option A. Come to the next problem. The question is, at phase crossover frequency, what is the magnitude of the transfer function? Okay, so this is the plot, right? What is the phase crossover frequency? The frequency at which it cuts the 180 degree. Okay, what is the magnitude at this point? The magnitude at this point is, this is the magnitude. So the answer is 0.8. Remember, we cannot put minus 0.8 because magnitude is always positive. Okay, so this point is the omega PC. Because the polar plot is cutting the negative real axis. Negative real axis at this point. So this is your omega PC. Okay, so that is the 0.8. So the magnitude is this is the magnitude, that is 0.8. Okay, we move to the next problem. A transfer function is given. They are asking whether it is a lead, lag or lag lead network, right? First try to convert this transfer function into this form, s plus 0 plus s plus pole format. Okay, here what is the so to find out the 0, I am taking 0.5 outside in the numerator. Okay, so it becomes s plus 1 by 0.5. In denominator, I have nothing to get a common outside, right? So it becomes s plus 1. So when the question is given, try to write it in s plus z c plus s plus pc format, right? So we should not have a term next to s. This is the best way to solve. So take 0.5. Now the 1 by 0.5 is 2. So we got the answer in s plus z divided by s plus 1. So what is the 0? 0 is at minus 2. Pole is at minus 1. So pole is very close to the imaginary axis. So it is definitely a lag compensator. If a lead compensator means 0 will be here, pole will be here, right? Since pole is very close to the imaginary axis, when compared with the zeros, it is a lag compensator. Another way is finding out is find out the ratio between 0 and the pole. So 0 is minus 2, pole is minus 1. So the ratio is 2 by 1. It is greater than 1. If the ratio is greater than 1, it is a lag compensator. If ZC by PC is less than 1, it is a lead compensator. This is another technique. By the pole 0 diagram also we can find, or else by the ratio also you can find. If ZC by PC is greater than 1, it's a it's a lag compensator. If it is less than 1, it is a lead compensator. Okay. Next question is a very simple problem. S plus 3 by S minus 3 as a magnitude. Okay. J omega plus 3, J omega plus 3. I am taking in the frequency response form. What is the magnitude? Omega square plus 3 square, omega square plus 3 square. Right? So the magnitude is always 1. So the answer is 1. Now the next question, the next problem, what they have asked is, they are given a transfer function. They are asking what type of system is it, right? Okay. Now we can just plot the pole zeros, right? 0 is at minus 3, pole is at minus 2, another pole is at minus 5. All the poles and zeros are in the left half of the S plane. So it is definitely a minimum phase system. A minimum phase system will have all the poles and zeros in the left half of the S plane. Okay. So it's a minimum phase system. Next. Okay, observe this. 3 minus s, s plus 3. Okay. What are the poles? 3 minus s is equal to 0. If I put, I will get the 0 at s is equal to 3. Then denominator if equal to 0, I get the pole at s is equal to minus 3. So for every pole in the left side, there will be a corresponding 0 in the right side. That is a mirror image in the right side. Okay. Right. So this sort of transfer function is called all-pass system. Okay, this is the principle of all-pass system. If I have a pole at minus 3, there will be a 0 at plus 3. Okay, there will be a mirror image between the pole and zeros, between the right and left side. Okay, such system is called an all-pass system. Next question, the frequency at which the maximum phase lead occurs in a lead network. They have said it is a lead network. Okay, let us check whether a lead network or not first, right? So what I said, how to check? Just to find out the ratio between ZC and PC. What is ZC? Okay, so it should be not a lead network, right? It should be ZC is minus 4, PC is minus 1. So it is 4 which is greater than 1. Say again a correction, very sorry, it should be a lag network, right? Okay, right, this should be a lag network. And even if you go for the pole 0 plot, 0 is at minus 1, pole is at minus 4. Okay, the question is a lag network. Keep in mind the question is a lag network, and they have asked at what frequency the phase is maximum, right? So omega m is equal to square root of 2 corner frequency. What is the 2 corner frequency? They are nothing but the poles and zeros. So pole is 4, this is 1. Okay, I have to take the magnitude, right? Pole is at minus 1, 0 is at minus 4. I have to take 1 and 4. So square root of 1 into 4, square root of 4 is 2. So the maximum omega m is 2. At omega equal to omega m, maximum phase lag occurs. Phase lag occurs. Right? Phase lag occurs. Right. Okay. Next is transportation lag in a system will affect both its magnitude and phase. Right. We know any transportation lag will affect only the phase of the system. It will not affect the magnitude. Okay, but the question is affects both I have given. So the answer option is the false one, right? These things are explained in a separate video lecture regarding the all-pass system, transportation lag. You can watch those videos. You'll get a very clear idea. Next. Okay. Now come to this. Here, it's given as for the Nyquist plot, open loop transfer function is stable, but we are saying it is enclosing the point minus 1 plus j0 point, its gain margin. Remember, the option should be in decibel, right? Okay, negative, positive or 0. And here some correction are there. Nyquist plot of an open loop transfer function g of s h of s and its 1 plus g of s h of s has 3 poles in the right half of the s plane. Okay, right. Before solving these problems, I want to refresh quickly about the Nyquist stability criterion. Okay, please listen carefully. I am going to consolidate entire Nyquist in this single slide itself. Okay, right. So I am taking an open loop transfer function. Okay, this is having 1, 0 and 2 poles, g of s, h of s. Then I am taking another thing called q of s, that is 1 plus g of s, h of s. So I am substituting. So what happens? I am cross multiply. This term goes here. Okay, I am multiplying. On solving this, I am getting new zeros as z1 dash, z2 dash. These are the poles. Okay, then we know what is a characteristic equation. That is 1 plus g of s, h of s equal to 0. First thing, find out the similarity between, what is this? Open loop poles. What is this? Open loop, this is the poles of q of s, right? So this is open loop poles. This is the poles of q of s. First point. Second point, if I equate this term, so this is 1 plus g of s, h of s. So this is 1 plus g of s, h of s. If I equate it to 0, this term goes to the left side and right side it vanishes. So what is remaining? S plus z1 plus s plus z2. Okay, so s plus z1 plus z2 nothing but the roots of they are the characteristic equation, right? So I can say like this term, that is your zeros of q of s are the roots of characteristic equation. Okay, right. These 2 points should be very clear, right? First point is open loop poles of g of s are the poles of q of s. Second point is zeros of q of s is equal to the roots of the characteristic equation. Okay, right. Now we will move into the Nyquist stability criterion. What is the criterion is, if q of s is having p poles in the right half of the s plane and z zeros in the right half of the s plane, right? So this is my q of s, right? This is my q of s. I am saying that it is having p poles in the right side of the s plane and z zeros in the right side of the s plane. Okay, then what will happen? The Nyquist plot g of s, h of s, that Nyquist plot of the open loop transfer function will encircle the point minus 1 plus j0 in counterclockwise direction n times. Okay, where n is given as p minus z. Okay, this is the condition, right? What is the condition? P is the number of poles of q of s in the right side of the s plane, or I'll say these two are equal. No, I can say, instead of saying p is the pole of q of s, I can say p is the pole of g of s, h of s in the right side of the s plane minus zeros of q of s, okay, equal to p minus z equal to n. These many times it will encircle the point minus 1 plus j0 in counterclockwise direction. Okay, now we are saying that a system, closed loop system is stable. Closed loop system is stable means what should be there? Characteristic equation should be stable. Characteristic equation stable means what is the meaning? All the roots of this should be in the left side, right? So roots of the characteristic equation should be in the left side. What are the roots of the characteristic equation? They are these values. Okay, they are these values, right? So what is this value? Z has zeros in the right half of the s plane, q of s, right? So z should be 0. None of these values should be in the right side for the closed loop stability. So n equal to p. Okay. Last condition, I am saying my open loop system is also stable. For the closed loop system to be stable, that is, for the open loop system is stable means P is 0. None of the pole is in the right side. Okay, it's because these two are same, right? So P is also 0, so n equal to P. So the condition is open loop system is also stable, so that for the closed loop stability, n is equal to 0. That is, it should not encircle the point minus 1 plus j0. Okay, again I quickly consolidate. Okay, this is my open loop transfer function. This is my q of s. Q of s is 1 plus g of s h of s. Okay, I got this expression. If you observe these two very closely, poles of g of s h of s is equal to poles of q of s. Okay. Next characteristic equation, I know I equate it to 0, right? So this is my characteristic equation. Equated to 0 means only this term will be there, denominator will go to the right side and vanishes, right? Okay, so I can say this term, that is the zeros of q of s, are the roots of the characteristic equation. This blue tick mark and this roots of the characteristic equation are the same. Okay, next the Nyquist plot of g of s h of s. If I am plotting the Nyquist plot of this term, will encircle the point minus 1 plus j0 in counterclockwise direction n times. N is given as p minus z. What is p is poles of q of s in the right side. What is z is zeros of q of s in the right half of the s plane. Right? For example, I am taking next case. If the closed loop system is stable, means what is the meaning? Characteristic equation root should be in the left side. Okay, that is the closed loop stability condition, right? Characteristic equation root should be in the left side. What is the characteristic equation roots? They are nothing but the zeros of the q of s, right? Zeros of q of s. So I said z is zeros in the right half of the s plane. No zeros in the right side. All should be in the left side. Then only closed loop system is stable. So z is 0. So n equal to p. Next condition. If I say open loop system is also stable, what will happen? Open loop system is stable means none is in the right side. Okay, so P is equal to 0. P is nothing but right of number of poles in the right half of the s plane. So P equal to 0. So this term and this are equal. When P is equal to 0, n equal to 0. Okay, so for an open loop stable system, for the closed loop to be stability, n should be equal to 0, right? Okay, now we come to the problem. I have said open loop transfer function is stable, right? Open loop transfer function is stable, but it is enclosing minus 1 plus j0. I said that, yeah, look at this condition. Open loop stable system means it should not enclose, right? That should not encircle. N should be equal to 0. But in the question, what is given? It is enclosing the point minus 1 plus j0. That means it is closed loop system is unstable. Okay, closed loop system is unstable. So the gain margin is less than 1. Gain margin is less than 1, or in decibel scale I can say 20 log less than 1 is negative dB. Okay, now the next question. The Nyquist plot of an open loop transfer function given and its 1 plus g of s has 3 poles in the right half of the s plane. For the closed loop system to be stable, the number of encirclement of the point minus 1 plus j0 in qs plane dash times in counterclockwise direction, right? Okay, how many poles are in the right half of the s plane? 3 poles. So P is equal to 3. Okay, and I have said that closed loop system should be stable, right? For that, how many encirclement should happen? N is equal to P. So 3 times it should encircle. So the answer is 3. Right. Next problem. An open loop transfer function is given. The question is draw the Nyquist plot. How many times it encircle the points minus 1 plus j0, right? And this is it's a very difficult problem, right? Because you have to draw the entire Nyquist plot to get 2 marks. These are some gate problems, right? Okay. So this is how many poles are there? 3 poles at the origin. Another pole is at minus 1. That we will not worry, right? Minus 1. So what we do in Nyquist plot? I have to cover the entire right half of the S plane, but I should not touch any poles. A complete Nyquist plot lecture part 1, part 2 has already been recorded and put it in the Fundamentals Learner channel. You can watch those videos, right? This is one problem we are going to solve for the control system aptitude. There are around 4 to 5 problems have been already solved. Okay, right. So look here, to cover the entire half of the S plane, what I have to do is I am taking some segment, right? This segment is C1, this segment is C2. Segment C1 is along the imaginary axis, segment C2 is covering the entire right half of the S plane, and there should be a segment which should not touch the poles, that is called indent. Okay, I should not touch the poles, a small jump, right? That is called indent. A small jump means I represent it by epsilon e power j theta, where epsilon radius is 0 and theta is from, see, it is going from here to here, then coming here, right? So what is the angle? Minus 90, 0 and plus 90. Minus 90 to through 0, minus 90 through 0 to the point 90 degree. So this is the indent. What about this this C2, segment C2? Segment C2 is nothing but r e power j5. What is r? R is infinite. The radius is infinite, right? Radius is infinite, and it is covering the entire right side. So this angle is 90 through 0 through minus 90. 90 through 0 through to minus 90. Okay. Then what about C1? C1 is from minus infinite, minus 0, then I have an indent, then plus 0, then plus infinite. My objective is to find out this point. What is minus infinite, minus 0, omega minus infinite, omega minus 0, then I have to solve the indent, then I have to solve omega 0 plus, then omega infinite, then this part C2. Thereby I can plot the approximate Nyquist plot. Okay. So first thing, g of s h of s is given. In place of s I substitute j omega. Okay, these are simple mathematical manipulations, right? Complex conjugate, I got these things, right? Now try to split into real part and imaginary part. Okay, to find out the values, just a moment. Okay, right. First thing, I am putting omega as minus infinite. First I am starting with this point, omega as minus infinite. Put it here, minus infinite square power 4 power, it's an power 4, it's an square, right? So it becomes plus infinite. K by infinite is 0. So these are even powers, right? It's an odd powers, omega power 5, omega cube. So what happens is, by infinite, I'm putting minus infinite. So I get minus 0. Okay, this is the value. When I put omega as minus infinite, get the value 0 minus j0. Okay, next I am putting the next value. So what is the next value? I put minus infinite, next I am going to put minus 0. For minus 0 if I put, okay, k by 0 plus 0, okay, so since I am putting minus 0, since it is an even power it becomes plus 0, so it becomes plus infinite. Since it is odd power, if I put minus 0, it will be minus 0 only. So anything by minus 0 it is minus infinite. So infinite minus j infinite. This is the point I got by putting omega as minus 0. Okay. Next we will solve this indent in the next slide. Now we will solve 0 plus and 0 infinite. Remember, the indent is between 0 plus and 0 minus and 0 plus, right? Now we put 0 plus, we get these two values. Then we put plus infinite, we get these two values, right? Plus 0, we get this complex number, plus infinite, we get this complex number. Okay, we got 4 points. Now we are going to solve the indent. What is the indent? I said that indent is represented by epsilon e power j theta, where epsilon is equal to tends to 0, theta is from minus 90 through 0 to plus 90. Now substitute the indent value. In place of a, substitute epsilon e power j theta. If I substitute s cube, epsilon cube e power j 3 theta, then epsilon e power j theta plus 1. Since epsilon is 0, this becomes 0. 0 plus 1 is 0, so I can ignore this term, right? So take this term to the numerator, it becomes e power minus j 3 theta is k by epsilon cube, right? Now what is epsilon? Epsilon is 0. If I put epsilon 0, so k by 0 is infinite e power minus j 3 theta, okay, right? And I have mentioned that what is the theta range? Minus infinite, 0 and 90. Now put those values. If I put minus infinite, I will get infinite radius and the angle is 270. Then if I put 0 infinite radius 0 degree, then if I put 90 degree infinite radius, if I have to put theta, right, put theta as 90, 3 into 90 minus sign is there, so minus 270. So this is what I get by solving the indent. Now go to the segment. What is the another thing? Now what we have solved? We have solved C1, indent is completed. Now I have to go for this segment C2. Okay, what is segment C2? It covers the entire right of the S plane. So R e power j5, so R tends to infinite, phi ranges from these values. Now we put the R values. Since R is infinite, infinite plus 1, I can ignore the 1. So R into R power 4, e power j4 phi, right, take this term to the numerator, k by R power 4, I put infinite means it becomes 0. So radius is 0, the angle is minus 4 phi. What is the phi? Phi is 90 degree, because if you look here, where it is starting at this point 90 degree, going to 0, then coming to minus 90, right? So I put 90, 0 and minus 90, I get these values. Okay. Now I am going to bring segment C1, indent and the segment C2 into the graph. Okay, right, let us start now. Look at this point, right? At plus infinite, omega equal to plus infinite, what is the point? 0 plus j0, 0 plus j0, right? Okay, then omega equal to 0 plus, what is the point? Infinite plus j infinite, it is here. Okay, no, sorry, first we start with, we start with omega, because we are going to start from omega minus infinite, omega 0, then indent, omega 0 plus omega infinite, then segment C2. This is the order, right? We are going to start from this way. So omega equal to minus infinite this point, omega equal to minus 0 this point. Okay, I am going to plot those values. Omega minus infinite, I get 0 minus 0 is here, minus j0 is here. Then omega equal to minus 0, infinite minus j0, I get this point. Then what about the indent? Indent say that infinite angle 270. So the next point is here, infinite angle 270. Right, then what is the next angle? It goes and this point is infinite angle 0 degree. Then what is the next point? Indent I have not completed yet. It goes to infinite angle minus 270. So this should be not plus 270, it should be infinite angle minus 270. Okay. So indent is completed. Then what I should do? Yes, indent is completed means I have to go for 0 plus and omega as infinite. For 0 plus the point is infinite plus j infinite. Okay, for plus infinite the point is 0 plus j0. Right. So next point is at 0 plus it is infinite plus j infinite. At omega plus infinite it is 0 plus j0. So you can see the path. We started from here, we go this way, again we come this way, coming back here, right? And remember, it should be symmetrical. That's the first point about the real axis. Second point is the shape is not important for us, right? Because we have only free hand we connected those points, right? It can be like this, it can be a straight line, it can look anything, but what is important is how many times it is encircling. If you look at this figure, plot, Nyquist plot, it is encircling this point one time. Let's look here. One time, then 2 times it is encircling. So the option is 2 times in what direction? In clockwise direction. Okay, clockwise direction. So the option is B, 2 times in clockwise direction. Right. Next. This is one of the important questions, right? Most interviews people will ask these questions. If you say, people say an open loop system is stable, then the closed loop system is always stable. Need not to be, right? An open loop stable system maybe in closed loop will become unstable, right? It's not always. This is important, right? It's not always. That's why if it is always stable, then why we want to design, or why we need a compensator, right? Okay, why we need any gain adjustment like that, right? It is not always stable. We have to bring, sometimes it will be stable, sometimes we have to make it stable, right? So the option is false. Then what will happen if I add a pole to g of s h of s, right? Okay, let us take a simple transfer function 2 into s plus 1 into s plus 2. What is the phase angle? 2 by j omega plus 1. This is the frequency response, j omega plus 2. For 2 the phase angle is 0. For denominator it is minus tan inverse of omega. For this term it is minus tan inverse of omega by 2. Okay, now what I am doing is I am adding. So okay, now for this you find out at omega equal to 0 what is the phase angle? Phase angle is 0. At omega equal to infinite the phase angle is minus 180. Okay, because this range is 0 to 90, this is 0 to 90, maximum is 90, my 90, so minus 90 minus 90 minus 180. Okay, now look at this example. I am going to add a pole. If you are going to add a pole, what happens? Now the problem becomes like this: 2 into s plus 1 into s plus 2. So this is the pole at s equal to 0, origin. Okay, so what happens? The frequency response is j omega plus 1, j omega plus 2. So for 2 the phase angle is 0. If I calculate phi, it is 0. For j omega it is minus 90. For this is tan inverse of, next term it is tan inverse of omega. For the next term it is tan inverse of omega by 2. Now you can put various values of omega, right? If I put omega 0, what is the phase angle? Phase angle is minus 90. Because when I put omega 0, this is 0, this is 0, we will get tan angle is minus 90. Next you put omega as infinite. What happens? What is the maximum phase angle possible? This is 90, so minus 90, this is 90, so minus 90, minus 90, minus 90, it becomes minus 270. Now we observe what is happening. If you observe here, omega equal to 0, it is 0, now it has become minus 90. Here omega equal to infinite, okay, infinite become minus 180 has become minus 270. So what is happened? Phase is reduced 90 degree at 0 frequency. True, phase is reduced 90 degree at infinite, that is also true. But look at the third option. Phase is reduced by 90 degree at both 0 and infinite frequency. Yes, at 0, from 0 degree it went to minus 90 degree. At infinite, from minus 180 it went to minus 270. So the best option is option C. Right. Next question. This is a commonly asked interview question. Like a lead network, lag lead network. Like lead network is an high pass. Lead network is high pass. That is, it will pass only high frequency component, right? High pass filter. Lag is low pass filter. Lag lead is band pass filter. There is some other filter called some other lead lag, right? It is band stop filter. I have explained these things clearly in another video lecture. You can refer the channel, right? Okay. I hope you enjoyed learning. Any doubts, put in the comment section. I am always ready to help you. Any doubts, don't hesitate to put in the comment section. Thanks for listening. Meet you again in some other video. Thank you.